Haunting of Hill House is Netflix original horror series. It is very loosely based off a book, and I believe there's also like 1 or 2 movies made of it as well. However, not being too familiar with those other versions of this, I believe that this TV series has almost nothing to do with that except for maybe the house itself. So let me start by saying this show was one of the best shows I have watched all year. So I'm a fan of horror, I really am, whether it's TV shows or movies, and this show took it to places that I never have seen done before. The premise is essentially this family that lives in this house that seems to be haunted, but the twist is that they get the This Is Us treatment. The majority of the show takes place as a lot of these kids as adults, and it flashes back to them as children living in that house. And that alone I think is the most interesting thing about this show, because where a lot of horror movies stops is when the family gets out of the haunted house. This show takes it to the next level and says, what are the consequences that these people are dealing with after living through that experience? In fact, not only the immediate consequences, but let's look 20, maybe even 30 years later, and how are they still dealing with it? And let me tell you, it is so interesting to see how they dealt with it. There were 5 kids within this family, and each one of them kind of went through a different experience in this house. For some of them, they had more interaction with the haunting experiences. There's even some kids that want to refuse to believe what even happened. I think each character was written so well to really represent a different side of what you might experience while going through an experience like that. It makes me so sad how much I actually related to the older brother, and I am sorry to my younger siblings because that guy was the worst while watching this show. So as each sibling experienced it differently, they're now adults, and you can kind of see how they have developed and how it's still affecting their everyday life. For some of them, they're living a successful life, but for others, they are just at rock bottom, and a lot of it is due to what had happened many years ago. So flashing back, forward, kind of like a This Is Us, or even a Lost type format, each sibling kind of gets their own episode, and it dives into their specific character and how they relate to the overall story. And by the end, it wraps up so well, where you can see every storyline overlap, and it goes places where I never saw a horror show go before. I honestly can't even really talk about it too much without going to spoilers, so just so you know, there is going to definitely be a spoiler video for this. Outside the story, the acting is great. The sound design is amazing. I have to give a special shout out to episode 6, and I know a lot of people didn't talk about it, but let me tell you, it is by far the most well executed episode of television I've seen, if not in the past year, maybe even like 2, 3, 4, 5 years. The whole episode takes place within just 5 different shots. So you have a single handheld camera following these characters. It feels like you're watching a stage performance. And they're still able to nail the emotion, the special effects, the haunting of it. This show will pull out so many different types of emotion from you. Again, that's essentially all I can say without going to spoilers. So if you want to see a spoiler video, stick around because it's going to be coming soon. If not, just go watch the show. And if you have seen it, let me know what you think. Comment below. I want to hear your thoughts on this show. Leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe for more content like this, and I will see you next time.